Okay, we are recording and we are live. So if you guys will go ahead and mute yourselves, I'm going to start this presentation and I will have questions. I'm going to open it up for questions at the end. And this should be a really, really fun webinar. I'm going to try to finish it in 1.5 hours. So 1.5 hours from now, I will probably open it up for questions that you have, but we're going to move very quickly. And let me just show you what we have. The first part of the webinar is probably the most important because I'm going to show you your workbook. So over in the chat, I'm going to probably put this link to the workbook in the chat and you can look it over while we are doing this. So let me click on chat and let me click on the link to the worksheet. Hopefully you guys know how to get into your chat to open this. To everybody, and it is sent. Okay, so that link that I just sent you in your chat message, that is the workbook for today, and I'll go ahead and walk through the workbook and how it's put together. So if you are a student, then you'll just be able to follow those steps. If you're a teacher, I recommend you doing the same thing before you have your students do it so that you know how to do it, and then you can teach them better. I prepared a presentation slide sheet today, so I think I'll just go ahead and open that now. Whoops, we should start at the beginning. And grab my pointer. Okay, so I am super excited. Welcome to today's webinar. This is a songwriting webinar. And it honestly took me about 10 years to put this together. And this last week, I spent about 60 hours preparing it and doing some pre-recorded material so that we could get through things more quickly. What have you gotten yourself into? This is what we're going to learn. If you're a teacher, you're going to learn how to teach your students how to write music. And then
you're not sharing your screen, just so you know.
Thank you. Let me start over. Okay. Appreciate that. Okay, sharing my screen now. And Michelle, let me know if you were able to see it.
Yep, I can see it.
We're good now? Thank you for catching me early. So anyway, this is what we're learning. We're going to learn how to write music. We're going to learn how to use notation software, and we're going to learn how to share and promote your work. So we have some people already in this seminar. They have already written songs, and so you are going to learn how to share your songs with other people. And let me just show you a series that I wrote about 3 weeks ago. I decided I'm going to write a collection of easy songs for my students based around Halloween theme. So this is a song that I want to show you. Oh, I need to mute people, don't I? Let me go ahead and just mute everybody before we go on. Otherwise, we'll have that going on all seminar. Okay, sounds like everybody's muted. So this is a song, the doobity dum, that I want to show you. And it is pretty dumb. I wrote this in probably 10 minutes and I started writing and then I couldn't figure out what words to say. So I just started singing along and the words that I used was doobity 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 doobity. And I thought, okay, that's good enough. So I wrote down them as the lyrics and it became the title of the song. Well, it's kind of a dumb song, except that I wrote some really cool background accompaniment for it with some drums and a bass guitar and a teacher part. And so it's turned into a duet. And I thought, you know, I have a family that I'm teaching. The mom is taking lessons with me and her 3 children. And one of the best things that I think the mom did was start taking lessons with her children. It's made all the difference in the world. They're learning so much faster with her involved with that. And these two siblings, I decided I'm going to go ahead and put it in Piano Marvel, chop it and mince it. So I used to spend a lot of time spoon feeding students how to play a song, and I just got tired of that. So now I put it into the program. It teaches them step by step, so I don't have to teach them. I can just put it in once and send it to all my students. They can learn it. Well, she went ahead and learned this with her brother, and I said, can I record this for you? And so she gave me her phone. I said, well, let me just show me how to start it. So I started it, and I recorded this while they played, and then we put this into a contest. So this is the song that I wrote called Doobity Dum, and they did this, I think 3 days ago, Wednesday, on their lesson. Are you guys able to hear? If not, I think I need to
A little on the quiet side, Aaron.
Yeah, let me get the share the audio real fast. Yeah. Okay, sharing my computer audio, and now you should be able to hear it. So it was super easy. How do I get by? Okay. And then what we have is this piano video contest that we put together, which is absolutely free. And so I said, hey, I want you guys to enter this contest. All you have to do is take that video that we just recorded on your phone, upload it to YouTube, and put the link in here, and it's a free contest. And so you go to pianomarvel.com. If you want to write this down, you can, or watch the video later, /piano-video-contest. And I told them, look, there are even some sponsors who have offered to give a $500 prize to the winner. And so they got excited, and they put their video into this just during the lesson. It was just like super, super easy. There's even tips on how to make better videos, but we kept this video super easy. You just put your name, email, and your video link, and then an hour later, it goes into this entries box. And within 2 days, they had risen to first place here with 254 views and 13 likes and 1 comment. So people can come in here and watch other videos and see what they're doing, or you can put your video in, super easy, and it's all free. So I really like this because, and I'm super proud of these kids for promoting the song that they just played and learning how to promote themselves. That is actually pretty impressive in 2 days to get 254 views on YouTube. So their little sister couldn't actually play that song that I put together. I thought, okay, I'm going to write an easier one. So I wrote this little batch of songs called So Easy, Your Pet Fish Could Play These. And I showed it to her, and she's like, Mom, these songs are so easy that Finn could play them. I'm like, who's Finn? She actually had a pet fish. So it was perfect for her. That was hilarious. So this is the song that I simplified. You can see it's just do, 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 do over and over. And then she was able to play that song. I even wrote her an easier song. So I noticed I used to write really hard music, but very few people could actually play my music. So I'm super excited now to write songs that people can play. I'm going to talk about this golden ticket thing, because this is how you're going to share your music. And when people find it, they will be able to get a golden ticket if they can play your song and get a 96% on it. Well, as a composer, I was super curious, you know, after writing these songs a few weeks ago, is anybody even playing my music? So I went and checked on it, and I was super excited. This Doobity Dum song, check it out. It got 1,000 people played my song. And I had over 12,000 plays on it and over 5,000 minutes. So I don't know if you've ever written something and wondered if anybody liked your music. That's one of the most fulfilling things as a composer, is to write something and then to share it with somebody and see how many people are actually using it. And these are the golden tickets that I talked about. I had 890 people get a golden ticket on that song, so they got a 96% or better. It's not my most famous song, though, of this group. It's the Ghosts and Goblins actually did better. It got 17,000 plays with 1,500 people using it, and I got 1,455 tickets as of yesterday. So that, as a composer, is one of the coolest things and very rewarding. I'm going to just talk a little bit about my history and how I started. So when I started, I was in high school when my teacher said, hey, I will let you do a contest where you can write some music. And are you guys able to see my video? Joel or Michelle, is my video on? Because I'm not seeing it.
I don't see your screen.
Let me.
Yeah, we see your face. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you see my face. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Anyway, his name was Mr. Duncan, and he was my piano teacher. And he said, "Let's enter a contest, and this contest you'll have to write a song and see how well you do, and we'll put it in a state competition." Well, it was my first contest ever, and I had no idea how to write music. I made it up on the piano, but then I had to figure out how to put it into notation. And that was back in the day when there was no software. You just had to write it with pen and paper, or pencil rather, because you do a lot of erasing. And so I would write it out, take it to him, and he'd play it. I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to sound like. He said, well, that's what you wrote. So it was a process of learning. Well, when I went to college, I started using music notation software with Finale and just started learning how to do that. And it was pretty cool. Well, I won some contests with it and I started getting more into music. And one day I decided I'm going to try to get published. Well, somebody told me you just have to send it to lots and lots of publishers. So I did that. I started sending my music to publishers and nobody got back to me. But I had a friend who knew somebody at one of these companies, and I sent a piece to them and asked them to review it, and they actually reviewed the piece. Normally, I talk to them and they just get stacks of music and they put it on their table and they never get to these songs because so many people tried to get published. Well, they actually looked at my song and here's the feedback. He said, no, we can't publish this. He said, do you know how many entries we get and people who are interested and the expense that it is to publish songs? And this song, by the way, is so hard that nobody can even play this song. Very few people. And if they're going to play it, they'd rather play Beethoven or Franz Liszt or something. And so I learned a really hard lesson. One, it's hard to get published. And then number two, you've got to write music for a specific group of people. And so I started writing easier music and many, many more people are able to play my music now. So my hard songs, nobody plays, but my easy songs, I get hundreds of thousands of plays with it. Now you're living in a world that's very different than the one that I started in. This is a world of self-promotion via video links and self-publishing. When you go to a publisher, they'll do some of the work for you, but you also have to work with them and still promoting your work. You don't have to print it or ship it. They do all that, but then they own your copyright usually. And so I kind of didn't want to give away the rights to my music. I want to use it however I want, give it away if I want to. And I couldn't do that with a publisher. So I started self-publishing. And this is actually something that is becoming the norm now for people, is they can share their own music with other people. And today I'm going to show you some ways that you can share your music. And we're going to start off really simple. I'm going to go over to, let me share my screen, and we're going to jump right into this. I have to escape. I don't know if any of you've had this problem before, but the Zoom screen has that menu at the top. I have to hide it. I forgot the shortcut to hide it. There it is. Okay, now I can get out of this and go over to the webinar worksheet. Now I gave you, this is your lifeline. Hang on to this worksheet. It is, everything in here is free. And it walks you through step by step through this course. Here's what I found. The years that I've trained to teach people how to write music and failed many times. It's just a process of trying things out, experimenting, and failing. I found that if you're going to do something in your studio, you need to create something super simple that is super clear and easy to follow. And maybe the most important, that it is gradual. So often I've skipped to having students write their music instead of starting off with just some basic notation stuff, and they hit a brick wall. You also need to make sure that it is engaging and that it is rewarding. If it isn't, then your students aren't going to want to do it. There has to be a reason that they're writing this for. And sharing your song via a contest is a perfect project for them to get into. So let me show you the simple 4 steps that we're going to go over today. Step number 1 is using notation software. You might feel like this is backwards. Like, why would you show music notation software before you even show them, before they've even got their song done? Well, what happens a lot of times is people write music and they never get to the point where they can put it on paper, or rather in notation software, we don't put it on paper anymore. And that's because they feel like this is an unsurmountable wall. And so we're breaking down that wall before we ever get there. And we do it in 10 minutes flat. You can see down here, step 1, 10 minutes is all it takes for me to show you how to do this. We're going to watch this video. It's going to be on this link, and I'm going to walk you through that step by step. And then we're going to go to step 2. And that is writing a background accompaniment. And you saw that background accompaniment that I did a little earlier. Well, I can show you that one in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. It is so easy to be able to do that. And if you follow this and you take this step 2 and you do that assignment, you will be ready to write your own background accompaniments. Then sharing your song. Now this one we split into 3 segments, which the first one is uploading it to Piano Marvel for sharing. Second one is slicing it to prepare your song to be learned easily by anybody in the world. And then that last one is finally sharing it. And then we get to step 4, which is the project. And this is a 2-part project. We're going to do a well-known Christmas song that I'll give you a list of songs that you can pick from. And then we're going to have you do your own song right here. So let's jump in. Let me show you one more thing before we start. You notice if you go down to the next page, it breaks it down step by step. Download this, select this, do this, put in lyrics, put in staff and everything. So you have this little checklist that you can print and just like put a check mark as you go down this list. And the video instructions here will walk you through step by step how to do each of these items. Well, step number 2, same thing. Step number 3, same exact thing. Step number 4, same exact thing. At the very end of this page, you have a list of resources. And you may want to go through these after this conference is over and just check out what resources I've given you, including like the Christmas song list, some handouts if you want to buy a keyboard for faster music entry, what keyboards we recommend, and that sort of thing. And then if you have any questions at the end, just send them to me at aarongarner@pianomarble.com. So that's at the end of your workbook. You don't even have to take notes. Lucky you. All right, let's go ahead and just jump into this step 1. We're going to go through the video instruction. And if I could have somebody let me know if you can.
Okay, this is a super fast assignment.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, let's learn how to enter our music. We're going to pick a very easy song, and we do this on purpose to make this as simple as possible.
I'm going to have you generate a song that looks exactly like this, finger numbers, lyrics, ties, and all. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to go to a software that's free called Muse Score. So if you type in a Google search and say Muse Score and say download, you should be able to find this page here and the option to download for Mac or PC. I'm going to go ahead and download the Windows one. And it'll start downloading. Since I'm in Chrome, most times it'll download to your downloads folder. It looks like it's going to take 1 minute. I have 10 megs downloaded of 111 total. Once that finishes downloading, I'll be able to open it and install it. So I'll go ahead and just fast forward. Okay, notice it's still blue here. That means it's not quite done downloading, even though it says 111 of 111. So once this flash goes away, then you'll be able to open it and begin the installation. Okay, it flashed, the installation's done. I can either click on it or I can click this and show in folder and open it there. Let's go ahead and just click on it here, open. And we'll go ahead and start installing. Okay, next, you click I accept, click next, hit next, click install. Then you click finished. It will open up the software. It'll take you to a window, and this, if the new screen doesn't pop up like that, you have to click this one, but usually on the first one it starts up. Click new screen, type Mary Had a Little Lamb. Subtitle, we'll put nothing. Actually, let's put subtitle so you can see what it looks like. The composer, let's put traditional. Your lyricist, we're going to say me, and let's say 2019 for the copyright. Click next. Now you have to select what type of score you want. You can do treble, bass, or grand staff. We want grand staff. Click finish. And notice we have too many measures. Next thing you want to do is start putting in your notes. This little N at the top, or there's a shortcut. You just hit N on your keyboard. If you do that, it allows you to start putting in notes. And I'm just going to do these manually. So let's click E, D, C, D, E, E. Now I need a half note. And then if I type a 5, it goes right back to the quarter note. Notice if I hit 6, it changes 5 to 6. So I'm going to put a 5 and do 2 Ds and then a 6 for a D and E, 5, G, and a 6. And then we repeat, which we can do with copy and paste. If I click on the note thing again, it goes away, allows me to copy and paste this. I can click on the first measure, hold the shift key down, Control C, or right click, copy, and then over here, right click, paste, or Control V. I have some wrong notes here. I need to change it right here. Change that to a 5 and move it up. You can move it up with your arrow. Then I need a note here. I better go back to my note writing tool. And then this one should be a C. Now I'm just going to delete this whole measure, show you how to do that. If you click outside the N, you'll be able to select, click delete, and it just erases that. I can go back to my N to enter a note, type a 7 for the whole note, or select the whole note here and put my C. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is put this in 2 measures and delete the rest. It's a little bit tricky how to delete measures, so let me show you that one first. I'm going to click the N or type N so I can select what I want to delete, hold the shift key down, and I will hit the Control or Command if you're on Mac, delete. Next thing I want to do is put it in 2 measures, or sorry, 2 systems. So this is interesting to do. You have to go down here. If you don't see all of these, you may need to change this back to basic, or actually advanced. You want to see the advanced tool palette. Click on the breaks and spacers. And do you see this one here? Drag it to the last one on the system, and it'll push the rest down to the next system. Okay, next thing I need to do is put some chords in. So I want to do a whole note, and we're going to do a C chord, and then over here, let's put a 5/7 chord. Now I missed this one because I wanted to show you how to just copy Control C, Control V. And I'm going to need one here, here, and here. And then the 5/7 chord I want to put here. Oh, I think I want to copy this one and paste it there too. Okay. Now, I want to put some finger numbers. Actually, let's go ahead and do lyrics first. And the lyrics, if you do a click on the note head and type a Control L for lyrics, it'll pop up this little box where you can start typing Mary Had a Little Lamb. So the first, because this is syllabic, I'm going to type in an M-A and then a dash R-Y, Mary, and then space bar. That gets you to your next note. Had, space bar, A, space bar, L-I-T, dash, T-L-E, space bar, L-A-M-B, comma, space. L-I-T, T-L-E, lamb, comma, little lamb. Same thing, period. Space, and then we're going to do M-A-R, whoops, so M-A dash R-Y. Had a little lamb. We're missing some notes here. Whose, we'll do that later. Fleece was white as snow, period. Let's take this lamb and change this to, there we go, quarter note. And I need one more note, which I'm going to need my note tool. Little lamb, little, wait, Mary had a little lamb whose fleece, little lamb whose. It's an E. Now let's change the lyrics. So we're going to go back out of the lyrics tool, or out of that, click that Control L, whose, and now we should have it. Last thing we need for this assignment is finger numbers. So back over here where you see your palettes, click on the finger numbers, and this one's interesting. It's different than finale. We're just going to click and drag the 3 till that highlights and drop it there. And I want a 2 on this one. I want a 3 on that one, a 2 on this one. Now the left hand, we're going to do just the 1 chord here and the 5/7 chord. So let's put a 1 on the G, a 3 on the E, and a 5 on the C. Oops, it didn't highlight, so it wouldn't drag. And drop. Not sure why that's not dropping. Let's go ahead and see if we can do that over here. A 1,
I didn't
2. Actually, I need a 2 finger here on the F, and the pinky for that one. Now, I'm not sure why I couldn't get this over here. Let's just try it on this chord here. I might have to just, whoops, Control Z undoes things.
Aaron.
And let's see if I can get my 5. There it
Let me
goes.
pause that.
Hello.
Go ahead, David.
Shouldn't that be your 5th finger on the bottom note, reading from the bottom to top, 5, 3, 1?
Where?
The first measure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to replace it. Yep. So I fixed
Okay,
it in a
go
minute.
ahead. Okay.
I'm gonna try it here. Yeah, oh, it's letting me do it this time. I want to just copy this one, get rid of that. So there's no need to have too many finger numbers. And there we have it. Next thing, you want to save this. So you click on File, click Save. Save the file.
By the way, that is some bad advice. Don't save your song after you've finished because you will lose it halfway through. So save your song while you're working. Every time you do something, hit Control S and save it.
file, and you can save it wherever. I think by default it'll save it in your Muse score files under scores. I personally would like to find it a little easier, so I'm gonna just put it on my desktop over here. Click save. Now it's on my desktop.
And that's it.
Finger numbers, lyrics, ties.
So that is the end of how to do that. Super, super easy. Let me go back now to our little workbook. We've gone through all of those things. And then the next step is now we want to take and put this background accompaniment to it. So I'll click on the video. Let's watch how that's done. This one's super easy.
Welcome to the next step of this assignment.
In fact, I would say this is so much easier in MuseScore than it is in Finale that you'll see how easy it is to put in your drum set here.
Assignment where we add a drum set and a bass guitar and a flute. You'll go ahead and see that this drum kit, this is just a basic rock beat, and we do the same thing every measure. I'm going to show you how to add it into your previous score that we've done, Mary Had a Little Lamb. So let me just close this one, and I'm going to open a new one. Actually, to save you time, go open the one that you've already created called Mary Had a Little Lamb. And then in the edit menu, you should see instruments. There's a shortcut to this one that I always use, which is the I. I'm going to click on I on my keyboard, and it pulls open this instrument settings. Over here, you want to add some instruments. So let's go ahead and figure out which ones we wanted to add first. I think I want to go back to my testing one so I can show you what we want. Okay, so we want the flute, the bass guitar, and the drum set. So back to this one. We did the I. We're going to go to a woodwinds. We're going to select flute and add it. Next, we wanted a bass. Click on plucked strings. Go down to electric bass, select add, and last of all, we want to add some percussion, unpitched drum set, click add, click OK, and in your score, you will see the 3 new instruments. All right, let's go to change this to page view. From page view to continuous view, and I'll have you go ahead and just take this first line. We're going to just drop this into the flute section here. Control C or right click copy, and then in the flute Control V or right click paste. If you're on a Mac, it's Command V. Oops, paste. I think I missed that. Copy, whoops. Control C, Control V. And next we want an electric bass. And we're just gonna do a C. Let's go to our note entry here. Let's do a C and a G on 1 and 3. And then on the 5 chord, we'll do a G, D. Back to C. And starting over. G. G. Actually, let's do a B. The up arrow. And then end on with a whole note. So we need a number 7, or you click on that, and then hit C. Hit escape twice to get out of that. And now let's go to the drum kit. Again, this one is a little different. In MuseScore 3, it shows up in a different place. It will be down at the bottom as soon as you click on the note entry. And we're going to build, let me show you again. this rock beat, which is the voice down here is going to be your feet, and this is the bass drum, and then the little X's up here on the top line, this is your closed hi-hat, and then this note right here on the bass clef E line, that is your snare drum. So let's go ahead and add, first of all, voice 1. We're going to do these closed hi-hats all in 8th notes, and then we're going to do on beat 2 and 4, we're going to add the snare drum. All right, so back to my note entry, and I wanted this hi-hat here. Let's just drag it. Actually, we need an 8th note, so let's select the 8th note. And all you have to do is just start clicking, and it'll put them in there. I can even be in the wrong place, and it'll still put it in the right location. Next, I want beat 2 and 4. We wanted this acoustic. Let's just do this snare drum here, the second one. If you hover over it, it tells you what it is. This is electric snare drum. And I want it on, again, if I tried to put it in the wrong place, it'll actually fix it for me. Now, voice 2, you can either manually get to up at the top here, or you can go to the bass drum, which we're going to get this one here, and notice it switched voice automatically for me. And I just want to change this to a quarter note, because they typically write those in quarter notes. And we wanted it on beat 1 and 3. Let's just go back. Yep, beat 1 and 3. Now notice every other measure is the same except for this last measure, which we're going to end on a crash and a bass. So let's go ahead and grab those and just copy and paste. So we click on this. If you're in note entry, remember you have to escape by clicking on the N again, or another way to do it is hit the escape key. Now it puts you into the selection tool, so you can actually copy this, click here, paste, paste. There's another quick way to do it, which is the R. So give it a shot with the hitting R, and notice it just repeats that same pattern. Now this one's a little different. The first half of the measure is the same, but then the second half of the measure changes. So let's just paste it again and then go delete our notes. How do you delete notes? Well, you just get out of the note entry, escape, and then you'll select the ones you're going to delete. Just hit the delete key. You can arrow over, delete, arrow over, delete, arrow over, delete. And we could change these to a half note, rest, just clicking on that. This thing we can do actually we want to keep that one. So the only thing we need now is to go back to our note entry and look for the crash. I believe it's this number C, crash symbol. And just click on it. And there you have it. The only thing that looks a little different is I had a whole note here, or a half note. Let me just change this thing to a half note by hitting 6. And it looks identical now. So let's see. Next, we want to go ahead and hit play and see how it sounds. I'll hit back to the beginning.
Now that you have all your instruments in, let's go ahead and refine it with the mixer. If you can't find the mixer, you can hit the F10 key or do a Google search and it'll show you how to find the mixer in MuseScore. I'll hit the play button here. And I want the piano to sound louder, so let me just turn that volume up here on the piano. Spacebar starts and stops. If I want to change the sound on the flute, you highlight the flute, and then you can select an instrument from the drop down here.
Let me go ahead and back it up, start playing. And I'm going to turn the flute up, and then I'll change the instrument to something else. Let's just try a couple of things. I'll just leave it as flute. If you type the letter F, it'll jump to anything that's an F. And there I found the flute. I will bring that flute volume down a little bit. Listen to it again. Let me try the bass up a little. And let's try the drum kit about right there. You can work that until you like the sound. In the next video, I will go ahead and show you how to export those MIDI files and the XML files for use.
Okay, that is pretty simple. You don't get easier on building background accompaniments. So the next step then is this step 3, and this one is split into 3 pieces. We'll just go ahead and walk through each of these steps on there, and then we'll go to that next video.
All right, it is time to share your song with others. So I will show you how to upload it and prepare it for sharing. This is what it'll look like. You will want it to be put into chopped and minced slicing for learning options. And then after that's done, you will go over and share your song with some other people. So let me show you how to do that step by step. Okay, let's get started. So you first need to go to MuseScore and do these first steps. So we need the XML, the MIDI, and a PDF so they can print their music. Let's go ahead and go to MuseScore and show you how to do all those. First, you notice that I have these parts separated. If you're not seeing your parts separated like this in MuseScore, you will simply go to File and click on Parts, and you can say Create All Parts, and you can see I've already done that. And that will give you these parts down here. So the reason why you need to do that is you need to get to just your piano part, and then you need to get it ready for printing. So the printing part will just be a PDF. So if you go up here to the File menu and click Export, you will have several options. The second one here is called PDF. Let's go ahead and export this to the desktop and click Save. And next, I will want to export an XML. So let's go over here, click Export, and you've got 2 options for XML. So if you click down here, you'll see a compressed XML and an uncompressed. I'm going to go with the uncompressed, but you really could do either one. And then go to the desktop and click Save. So that is 2. So now I have the XML and the PDF. I now need the MIDI, which is the background accompaniment. Now to get that, you'll want to go back to the whole score so you can hear everything. If you haven't already used your mixer in setting these, the volume of each one of these, because you want the piano probably to be louder, and this flute one I'll probably want to take way down here, and then the electric bass maybe right over here, and the drum kit. You can test this to see if it sounds good. Adjust it to however you like. And then once you're ready, we need to export the MIDI. So you do it the same way. You click File, Export, and then you come over here to the drop down and select MIDI. Just the standard MIDI will do. I will save that onto the same desktop. So desktop and save. And that's it. I've got all 3 of the files from MuseScore that I need to upload. Now, let's go ahead and see what's next. Okay, the next step is to go to Piano Marvel and go to the library where you're going to upload your music. Down at the bottom left, you see this Create and Upload button. Click that and it'll open a page. And on this page at the bottom, you'll see Upload a New Song. You just click on Upload a New Song and give it a title. We're going to call it Mary Had a Little Lamb. And I'm going to call this 2 because I already have one. And the composer, I think I'm just going to say arranged by Aaron Garner. The difficulty is only a 1, and I need a tempo. I'm going to put 80. And then you have to select a genre. This one happens to be folk. So we've already created the MIDI file. Let's browse our desktop and see if we can find it. In the desktop, I'm just going to type Mary, and I have the MIDI. I'm going to select MIDI and click Open. So I've got my MIDI. Now I need an XML. So I'll just click on the Browse, and then I'll type Mary again and look for the music XML. And open. Now I have everything I need. We'll do these later. Just click on Save. Now once that's done, you can just type in Mary here, and you should see that number 2 that I created. And there's a little eyeball. Just click on that to see if it worked. Everything should look just like it did in your Muse score. Let's go see what that next step is. So over here we had the PDF. We need to add a PDF, a thumbnail, and a video. So I'm going to go back to my uploads page. I will click on the edit, and then I will put in a PDF, which I saved on my desktop. I'll just type in Mary and find the PDF. The next thing we need is a thumbnail. So I'll need to go create my own, and there's several ways to do this. Let me just show you one quick way. So I'll just do Mary Had a Little Lamb images, and you find just any image that you think will work for you. And if you click on this, and you can see images may be subject to copyright, and you can learn more. And then they have something called fair use. You're not making any money on this. So Google's pretty good about telling you how to use that. And so what I do is just really simply take my snipping tool, and I grab just a quick little image. Let's say I want this one. And you want it about square, but slightly taller than it is wide. And so that should do. I need to save this as a PNG. And in Snipping Tool, you can just click on the Save. It saves it as a PNG. You'll type Mary Had a Little Lamb. And I probably want to put this on the desktop and save it. And so now when I go back to my uploads and I click Browse for the thumbnail, you should be able to find Mary Had a Little Lamb PNG. We'll click Open. So now we have that. We just need a URL. Now, this is a YouTube link. So if you have never recorded yourself performing a song before, you'll have to figure out how to video yourself from your cell phone and upload that to YouTube and get the link. And so I'm just going to go to YouTube and show you one that I've already done. I just recorded this one. So I'm going to go to my channel, and I'll go to my videos and do a search for Mary Had, and there it is. This is the one I want. And you notice it has this short link. I have noticed this. If your link's not working and you go to the share button and you grab this link itself may not work for you if you try to put this link into Piano Marvel. So instead, if you put that link over here and you go to YouTube, it expands it into a long link. That link I have found does work. So if you just grab that link and then you go over to Piano Marvel Uploads and you just put the link in, and I'll say Performance. There we go. And then I will click Save. Now I want to test all this. I think I'll just come back to my library and I'll refresh. And oh, it looks like somebody shared a song with me. And I'll take a look at that later. Over here on My Favorites, I should see, there is my new one, Mary Had a Little Lamb 2. So this is it. I got my picture working. My song video is working. If I open that, just test and make sure your video's working. And then the PDF, make sure that's working. Everything looks like it's working great. So the last thing you need to do is test the Assess button and see if that works.
1, 2, set, go.
There we go. Now I have some drums in the background.
Everything sounds good. It looks good. Everything's in place. Okay, so let's take a look at what's next. So now I have all of these things done and I've tested it. I am ready for the next step, which is to slice it, prepare it for easy learning. Okay, so sharing it actually, it's not that bad. You can do yours very quickly. If we go to the next video here, I'll walk you through a couple of tricks. I found some really, really fast and easy ways to do it, and I had to remake my video because we've made some easier ways to do it since then. So if you've done this before, pay attention. We actually have some newer ways. All right, we're on the next step of Share Your Song, Part 2, which is Slice. Prepare your song for easy learning with the practice mode. I'll come over here to the Mary Had a Little Lamb that I'd already done before, and you'll notice that I have a chopped and a minced over here. This is the practice mode. So if I click on chopped, you'll see that I have measures 1 through 4, and if you open that, it's just working on this first section of the song. And then if I go to the next line, it's just working on the last part of the song. So that's the way I've chopped it up. Now, if I go over here to the minced, I've taken it one step further and I said, all right, 1 through 4, but just the right hand. And you can chop it however you want. This one I'll show you how to do with this Mary Had a Little Lamb we just put in. Notice it has no chopped or minced. We just added it. So the way you'll do that is you'll go back to your library, go to the Create and Upload. You can type Mary, hit Enter, and notice the second one over here, we will want to click on the Edit. And then you have Create or Edit Practice Mode. Click on that, and notice you have no chopped or minced. This is where you create it. I am going to drag it over here into this other window. I'll open the song in this window and just see how I want to chop this. So I think the first part, we'll have them learn just measures 1 through 4. And then the next part, I'll have them just tackle this ending here, measures 7 and 8. And then I think we'll put measures 5 through 8 together, and then we'll do the entire song. So here's how you put that together. Click on Add an Exercise, and we'll just put in measures 1 to 4, and I'm going to pick 2 speeds. So let's do 60 beats per minute and then 80. We'll keep both hands. The start and end is something you'll need to learn. This is measure 1, and the point actually has to do with which note, and it's a little tricky. Sometimes the easiest way to do it is just highlight everything and then check the control box and see it's start point 1 of measure 1. 1, 1. And then over here it's ending at 4 and point 3. So 4 and point 3. And then you just click Save. And now you have your first one. The next one we want to do is the last part of the song, which is measures 5.1 through 8.1. Actually, that's...
So we'll add an exercise, and this one we will do number 2, and it will be measure 7 through 8.
There you go.
And we'll put measure 7.1 to 8.1, and then click Save. The next one, we wanted them to do measures 5 through 8. And sometimes what I like to do is just click Duplicate and then Edit, and you'll just change this to 3, and this will be 5 to 8, and this will be changed 5.1 to 8, and I think that'll do it. So we have one more, and that'll be the beginning through the end. So I'll just duplicate number 3, make it a 4, change this to measure 1, and this to measure 1, and save. And that's it for the chopped. Somehow my number didn't get changed. Let's edit that again, make that a 4. Let's check to see if that worked. I'll just refresh my Mary Had a Little Lamb. And now I have chop slicing. You can see measure 1 through 4 is highlighted. That looks good. If I go forward to the next one, that's the next speed. Yep, 80 beats per minute. And now go to the next one. That should be 60 beats per minute on that. That looks good. Let's just check this number 3. That looks correct. And the last one, we have everything highlighted. So now that the chopped is done, the next thing is easy. You will just duplicate all the chopped exercises. From here, I want to split up my measures 1 through 4 into 2 hands. And there's a quick way to do that. If you just click on this split and then say yes, it'll split it up for you and just do right hand, left hand. And then I also want to do the same thing with this number 3. Let's split that one. Refresh and see if this worked. And there we have it. Right hand, let's just check, make sure it worked. Yep, that's the right hand only. Let's check the left hand. Left hand only. Everything looks good. So now we're going to test everything, make sure it's working. Let's go ahead and just try this very first exercise.
1, 2, set, go.
And you'll want to go through all of these and just make sure that your slicing works well before you share your song with somebody. And that is the next step. It is time to share your song with somebody.
We have done a lot of work on making that easy for you to chop and mince your songs. I really like how this works now. It saves an enormous amount of time. I have to hide this. Okay, so let's go back to the last part. This one's a really short one. How to share your song. Finally, here we go. I'll just open the video and play it.
The idea is that you can share your music with the world and help people learn your music step by step as you segment it into learning sections. Then when users find your music, they can easily learn it as you've indicated. You can even attach YouTube tutorial videos to give them tips and ideas on how to learn that specific section of the song. Okay, so here's how sharing is done. From the library in Piano Marvel, click on Create and Upload. Find the song that you want to share. Click on the share icon. You'll have some options on how you want to share it. You can make it private or public. And if you're a teacher and have students linked to you, you can share it with just my students. Or if you're a larger institution and have many teachers teaching under you, you can share it with your entire organization. You can share it via email, and you can even write a note. When another user logs into their Piano Marvel account, this is the message they will see. That user can then add the song to my favorites and then see the song that you shared with them. And on occasion, you'll be able to submit your song for special contests like the Christmas Challenge, which will allow users to play your songs and earn entries into a drawing. You can even create collections like the Scale Ninja, where it has many scales inside of one book. It even has a report that you can create. This report will tell users which songs they've completed within the collection. You can even download a CSV. Teachers often create these reports so they can see at a glance which of the students have completed which songs and which students are missing assignments. I'll show you really quickly how to manage your collections. From the library, click Create and Upload. On the right side of the screen, you will see your collections, and they're organized into what we call books and bundles. A book is a collection of bundles, and a bundle is a collection of songs. To add a song into a bundle, do a search for your song, and simply drag it and drop it into the bundle. It will then appear within the bundle.
To create bundles or books, just click on one of these buttons at the bottom. To create a report for your bundle, click the pencil, click on Yes for Report, and type the name of your report, and then click Save. You can also share your bundle. The best way to learn how to share is to go through the motions and actually share a song with a friend. So let's get started today by sharing your song with somebody. Well, that was short. Super easy. And that is the end of, I believe we were on part 3. So now we get to the fun part. This is the project. The first part of this project, we're obviously going to make our own, take an arrangement of a well-known Christmas song. And we do this on purpose because it teaches a lot of things that you'll want to know. It's the easy way to get in. And then down here, I'm going to talk about some, and you'll get to see me actually construct my own original song and how to do that. So let's start with project 4, part 1 here. All right, we are ready for the project. In this assignment, you'll create an arrangement of a well-known Christmas song. Now, the first step is to pick a song. So I've made this list for you. That'll make this really simple. Just go ahead and open it up and take a look. I want to drag it over here to the left pane so I can see it better. Over here, you have the song list, the name of the song, the year it was published, whether it's in the public domain or whether it's still under copyright. This is the difficulty in transcribing. I would pick an easy one. This is the key signature, how many sharps and flats. This is the starting note of the song, and this is the time signature, whether it has a pickup note, and I've gone ahead and put in some chords to make this really easy for you. So first step is I am going to choose a song called Good King Wenceslas. And we'll open up MuseScore, create a new one, and I will just type in Good King Wenceslas. Arranged by Garner, and I will hit next. I'm going to choose Grand Staff and finish. It automatically put it into 4/4 time. If you need to change the time signature, let's go look. Good King Wenceslas is in 4/4. But if you choose a song that's not in 4/4 time, you'll need to know how to change that time signature. If you hit Shift T, it'll bring up your time signature, and you can change this to 3/4 time, and you saw my song just changed to 3/4 time. Now, before you start this process, you will want to be able to play the song on the piano. So if I go back to my sheet and I go to Good King Wenceslas, I can see that it starts on the C if I do it in C major. And so I'll just go ahead and start playing. All right, I can do it. If you can't do this by playing it from ear, I recommend that you go to YouTube and just find it on YouTube. If you're struggling at all, use your resources available to you. Just go to YouTube, find the song, let it help you figure out how to play it. Once you have that, now we go to MuseScore and we put it in. This one starts on the downbeat, which is really nice because I don't have to worry about any pickups. Let's go ahead and put it in. So first thing I want is Good King Wenceslas, which is starting at the C. Got a quarter note. I select my note entry, and if I have a keyboard connected, I could just play it. And I need a 6. I should pause this because I got stuck doing that once, and I tried to figure out where it is. It's actually under this little N thing. if you click on that drop down, you'll find it says something about automatic playing. I had to do a YouTube search on the different note entry tools. So you just go and select the automatic one, and you'll be able to do what I'm doing here,
which is a half note. Back to 5. Next, I want to put in my lyrics. Let me show you a really cool thing here. I like to go to a Google tab and do a search for Good King Wenceslas chords. And if you go to this Ultimate tab guitar one, and if you look and see if it's in the key of C, which it is, all your chords are ready for you here. You have also all the words. I like to have those words because as I am let me just situate this over here. There we go. I like to have the words because as I'm typing this out, I can just read them from this side of the screen. And then I'm going to use the chords later to fill in a left hand or a background accompaniment. So let's go ahead and just take this Good King Wenceslas, and I will go to the lyrics. If you remember, it is Shift L. Nope, it is Control L. If you forget, just do a Google search, MuseScore, lyrics, and it'll be easy to find. So I'll type Good King Wenceslas looked out. Next step is you want to add some instruments, which was the I. You will grab, let's go ahead and grab a flute, add it. Let's grab a plucked string. Let's call this, let's do an acoustic guitar, and let's also add a bass guitar, and let's add a drum kit. Not pitched, okay, unpitched drum kit, add. Click OK. At this point, I think I want my right hand to be 1 octave higher, so I'm going to just select the right hand. Let's zoom out a little bit. Shift, come over to the end, highlight the whole thing, and we'll do Control Up, and that gives
up
it to
arrow on
me
your keyboard.
1 octave higher. Now on the left hand, I think I just want to put blocked chords. So what I'll do is just do an open fifth, and the first one is a C major. So let's just take and put the C right here in whole notes. And I'll just play, oh, I gotta turn my note on. And then I need an A chord, then an F chord, and then the last one is go to C. Now the next one is when the snow lay round about, and you notice that these are identical. C, A, F, C, C, A, F, C. The only difference is right here at the end. So I am just going to take all 4 of those. I just held the shift key down to grab all 4. Hit Control C, and I'll put it there. Paste, paste, and paste. Take a look at the end of the song. We do have a slight change here. If you want to hear what it sounds like, just hit the little play button. This is the only change, so I'm going to just delete this, and I will put in half notes. Back it up, play my chord, which it goes from C to F and back to C with whole notes, which is number 7. And now let's see if that sounds any better. Okay. Actually go back and hit a 0 and then hit the hi-hat. 0 hi-hat. Or 0 for a rest. And then I'm just going to do 2 notes of the C chord. Hit 0, play the 2 notes. In the A minor chord, we just switch to a different note. And this one is F, so I can actually keep the same notes. And this one is a C, so I gotta go back. Now, I probably want some staccatos on those if I want to do more of a boom chuck type. So the way you do that is you highlight it, and then you can just hit the Shift S, and it'll put staccatos on those for you. Take a listen, see if it sounds good. I really don't like the guitar sound, and it's too loud, so your mixer, which you have to hit the F10 key to bring up your mixer. So if you have this mixer, you probably want to put a little more on the piano to bring that melody out. The flute, we didn't even put a flute line in, we can ignore that. The acoustic guitar, I'd bring that down a bit, but I really don't like that sound. I'm just going to put a piano sound and see what that sounds like. Let's back it up. Too loud. That's about right. Let's just copy and paste that to the end now. That's it. Let's go ahead and produce it. You need to get the piano part by itself, and you don't see a piano part here. Well, remember, you have to go to the File menu, go to Parts, and then create all parts. Notice that piano is now there. When I click that, you can see all your parts show up. I'm going to zoom out so I can see the whole page. Control minus or Command minus, and we'll just take and drag this to the 4th one right there. And then I can do the same thing with this, and same thing with this. Now it looks good. The piano part's ready. I can now export it as I need, and then go back to your Midi, and you can export that through the File menu export. And we're ready to start sharing this song. Let's take a look at our checklist and see where we are. We have completed all of these steps, and we are now ready for prepare and share. Remember to get your PDF ready, your thumbnail ready, your chopped and minced slicing, and your video that you link. Instead of going over those steps, I'll refer you back to step 3.2, where you slice preparing your song for the easy learning mode. And we can go on to the last 2 steps. Share your song in the Christmas challenge. Now this one is really fun. Let me show you how to do that. If you go back to Piano Marvel in the library and click on Create and Upload, find the song you want to share, click on the share link, and look for the special button at the bottom that says Enter the Christmas Challenge.
Now I'll stop that right now because you won't see that if you try to do your assignment today. That will be, I think we're going to be opening this for within a week. So that week right before Christmas, or right up to there. We haven't decided yet when to release this. So when you prepare your songs, just know you won't be able to upload them to the Christmas challenge yet. Get them prepared first.
Just click on that button and follow the directions to enter your song into the Christmas challenge. Now let me show you a song that I entered into the Halloween challenge to see how this works. Here is a set of pieces, this one called Doobity Dum. Notice how I've already earned some of the golden trophies, but some of them I have not. Let's go into this one I haven't yet. Notice it is in the chopped slicing.
That's another reason you should chop and mince your songs, so that you give users more golden tickets that they can earn on your music. And that will allow you to actually get more golden tickets from more people.
And all I need to do is play the fastest speed.
And then I will click on assess. Actually, let me speed it up for you so you can go a little faster.
1, 2, set, go.
If I get a 96 or above, I will get a golden ticket. And when they play your song, they can click on show the rank, and this will show them where they rank in the world with their golden tickets. You can even go and check to see where you rank in your class or where your studio ranks in the world. And then you can click on the entries to see how many songs and which ones you did which days. Now, so before I go into this next step, you won't be able to see how many people played your song just yet. That's supposed to be happening November 1st. So I'll go ahead and update you on how. So if you're curious and want to ask that question, we don't have an answer for you yet. So just hold on and we'll send you out an email telling you when that's ready. Now, I think the coolest part of this whole assignment is being able to see other people play your songs. I looked at my song and it was really cool to see that my Doobity Dum song had over 5,000 minutes played, over 12,000 plays, over 1,000 people played it, and I got over 890 tickets. My most popular one was Ghosts and Goblins, you can see, with 1,500 plays. Now, when you start writing music and sharing it, this is one of the most exciting parts and most fulfilling, is being able to see other people play your music. So that takes care of Share Your Song in the Christmas Challenge. The last thing to do is enter your video into the piano video contest. All you do is you click on the link. This contest is so easy to enter. You just click on the submit video. You put your name, your email, teacher if you have one, and your YouTube link. Then click submit. After 24 hours, you'll see your video show up in the entries page. I have a student who 2 days ago submitted their video, and this is the one. They actually got 271 views, and I'll show you really quickly what we did and just talk you through how easy this can be. So we just did this in my studio. I asked the student, let me see your phone, I'm just going to record you, and then once you're finished recording, I'm going to have you upload it to YouTube and put the link into the contest. It was super fast. The video doesn't have to be complicated. Notice I did have to put a costume on. I had some extra costumes in the studio. And that was the end of that. So it was super short, really easy to put together. There's also tips for making better videos. If you want to come over here, there's some different samples of videos and some ideas, and this is growing, and there's more resources being added to this all the time. We're now finished with the first assignment in step 4, getting ready to create your original Christmas song. All right, that is it. Now the fun part. Are you guys ready to learn how to do your own composition? Many of you have already done it. You already know the process. I'm going to let you just watch me create a video. I did this last night, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna put myself out there. And you know, sometimes you can't think of any ideas, and sometimes you can. This is one of my. I was on the spot, and I didn't create a really cool one, but I'll let you just go ahead and watch and see the process that I go through while I'm composing music. All right, let's close this one. Go to the last video, and this is it, the grand finale. All right, it is time to share your song with others. So I will show you how to. I don't think this is the right one. Which one did I open? Okay. This is not
All
the right
right.
one. I need to relink that. Hold on just a second while I find my video. How did I do that? Let's go to my videos under my channel. And let's see. I think it's called part 4. I just uploaded it last night. Where is it? This is my favorite video too. Anybody know how to do most recent? Probably sort by newest. It's not showing my most recent. Well, 2 things I can do. You can, let me go ahead and just stop sharing my screen really quickly.
Can you just share the one on your computer for now?
Oh, I could do that. You know what? I do have that
And then
one.
link it later?
Yep, that's a good idea. Let me, I'll show you my desktop and how messy it is. So, share screen. And let's see if I can find this. I've done a bajillion of them. So where will it be? I think I put them in on my desktop in a folder called, that might be in a YouTube ads. I've got a bajillion things on here. Okay, YouTube ads, and I think it was called part 4. I could show it in this create your own song. I actually have to open the software that I used to create all this stuff. This is called Camtasia. And I'll just play it out of there. And then I will go ahead and relink that for you. So don't worry about that yet. I'll have that done today if you want to have any of your students do it. And then
Just go ahead, what you did last night on this thing, and show us what you did last night.
you want me to do it live?
Yeah, just do it live, man. Be brave.
I could do it live. Actually, I can't do it live because I don't have a video on my hands. I don't have my camera up.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll have to do it here. All right, so if I hit play, I will have to go into detach this thing. If you've ever used the screen sharing tool, you can see how I've put my face over the keys and stuff. If you're wondering how I did that, that's with a green screen and using this software. Super, super helpful for creating video tutorials for your students. I highly recommend it. Detaching now, expand, and let's play it. This is the final video in the series, and that is how to go about creating your original composition. So there are lots of ways to do this. For me, there's no set pattern. Sometimes I'll try one approach, sometimes I'll do another. The important thing is just get in and do something, create something. The first ones you might make, they could be bad. It's not important. Just get in there and create something. My thought process now that I have some skills, I understand chord progressions. I like to actually start with chord progressions and I sing a melody on top of chord progressions. Sometimes those chord progressions will have a different rhythm, and so it'll change the mood and what I'm thinking. So I want to do something that I've not done before. I'm just just totally improvising right here. Not sure what I'm going to make up. Let's see what comes out. And you can kind of pick my brain and see what happens during the process of composing. Here we go. I think I'll go ahead and create a score. And I don't even know what to call it. So I'll just say nothing, blah, blah, blah. Just hit next. I can change that later. I'll make a grand staff, and let's just keep it in the key of C for now. We can change that later too. Let's come to the piano, and I think I'm going to do something in A minor, and maybe a boom chuck. I'm thinking something maybe a little bit for my younger students, something really easy. So something on a repeated note maybe. Let's go to that 5 chord. If you don't know your chords, maybe just start playing around. I gotta come up with some words. What's something catchy for student kids? Maybe Santa is my papa, and he thinks I do not know. Maybe I'll leave him some cookies or something. Santa is my papa, and he thinks I do not know. Something about his belly growing. I left him out left some milk and cookies, and his belly's starting to show. I'll have to work on that. Doesn't quite work. And then I think I'll maybe switch to different chords at this point. Moving to, if I move up from D, maybe go down a third into the key of F. Maybe go to the C chord, and D chord, and A. I like that progression. Maybe not that one. I like the E, so it's F to C, D, E. Maybe again, but this time I'll do a surprise ending. Maybe so now in the key of D minor. That's kind of cool if I start on A. E chord, and go to D chord and A, no, E, yeah, I need to get to that. It's 5/7 chord. A7. Maybe do maybe end it with that. I gotta go from the A7. A lot of times it's just playing around with different chords, but don't forget what you wrote down. Sometimes I'll write it on my arm, just little notes. Piece of paper is better if you have that. And you can just say, I want the A chord to the, what was that one? I've already forgotten it. Great. So just A to E7,
and then A to E7, and I'll just write some notes to help me remember, or even better yet, if I'm in front of a computer and I can just write this stuff down, I might just start putting this stuff in here. Let's go to the I to add instruments, and let's put in, let's do a flute, and actually keyboard is not a bad idea. A second piano. So these are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do eighth notes here, and we remember a 0. And then I'll do 1, 2, 2, and then you'll just keep putting your ideas down. I'm going to go to page view or continuous view here. And then 1 and 2. If I want eighth notes, quarter notes, I'm gonna have to change this up a bit, but let's just get my idea on paper. 6. And so if I wanted to make some notes of the lyrics that I came up with, this is not a bad time to go ahead and put in those lyrics as well. Just hit the Shift L, no, Control L, except for over here, Control L, and then say, Papa, Papa is my Papa. I've forgotten the words already. My Papa is, I forgot there's a pickup. My Papa is, Santa is my Papa, and I do not think, oh, Santa. There we go. So Santa is my papa. This is why you write stuff down quickly. My papa, and he thinks I do not know. All right, so now I've got some notes. I'm not going to forget this. When inspiration strikes, write it down, even if it's not developed all the way, and then you can always come back to it later and develop. And then, okay, so you kind of see how the process works, where you can just take something out of your head and start doing some chord progressions. What do you do if you don't have any idea of a chord progression that might even sound good? Well, I'd like to take songs that already work. Everybody uses very similar chord progressions. And so let's take some that we know. Here's one. It's just a C chord, an A chord, a D chord, and a G chord. So you can do G, C chord, A chord. You can do an F or a D. And then finish on the G. You can come up with something on that, and then you just start. Like it. Switch it up and start doing something else. Okay, there's one good one. Another good song was the one that I came across this year. I kind of like this one. It's a So what I have to do is figure out what are these chords. So the first one, it's an E minor
chord. Let's write that down. So we got E minor. Second chord is, you put it in order. There's my triad. It is a G major. What's next? That one is a little harder to figure out. You have to put them in a triad order. So that's the B, D, and F sharp. There it is. It's a B minor. So let's put B minor here. And the last chord is, looks like a D major. D, F sharp, A. That's an interesting chord progression. So I'll just keep that down here. So I got the D chord, or the E minor, G, B, D. Now, what do you do with the right hand? Well, that one, a lot of times what you want to do is beat one needs to land on the note in the chord. So if I'm playing an E minor chord, it needs to be an E, G, or a B. And I can start there. And then the next chord is a G chord, so it needs to be a G, a B, or a D. So that's why I went up to that B. And then the B minor chord, I need to get one of those notes. I like that F sharp. The last chord is a D major. I switched it. Instead of going to the D chord, I went to the A, and it might sound good. You could try switching out chords and just play around with different things that sound good. There is no right, no wrong. It's just what sound you really like. And the best way to learn, honestly, is to just get in there and play. Just make stuff up and find something that sounds cool. Take some other chord progressions you've heard and figure out what they're doing and just change it up till it's your flavor, until you like it. And that is the trick. So once you get your song, try to keep this first one really simple. Get it in on MuseScore, get it into the contest, and that is it. So have fun. I look forward to seeing what you come up with, and I will be happy to play your songs and recommend them to my students. Okay, it's kind of strange watching myself work. So yeah, you guys can, we're gonna go ahead and just open the time to questions. Again, you have the workbook, so use those with yourself first and then with your students. Go through step by step and just make sure that you hit every one of those points. It should guide you through so you can absolutely succeed with this. If you get only through one step, at least you learned how to use MuseScore. If you get through two steps, now at least you can write some background accompaniments, and then just keep going through the steps. Hopefully you can do that in 1 week. Most of you will be able to accomplish this in 1 week's time. Some of you will probably be able to get through all 4 steps in 1 day. All right, let's go ahead and open the floor to questions. Who has any comments or questions? Was I super thorough? Or are you guys super bored?
Well, I have a comment. Thanks for having this and sharing, your methods and ideas. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Let me try to see if I can share who is talking here.
This is Don.
Dawn. Do you have, oh, you don't have your screen shared. Okay. Okay, Dawn, go ahead.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. I appreciate you sharing. I think songwriting is very, very intimate. Sometimes we are a bit apprehensive about sharing our inner feelings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very delicate area. So opening up is part of the challenge.
And putting yourself out there for
Yes,
others to
exactly.
criticize. And yep, that's part of it. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
Erin, this is Joni Campbell.
Hey, Joni.
Yeah. Hey, you make that percussion seem so simple. And I have to say, being mostly a piano instrument only, that's what I know. How in the world do you know how, what drums, what guitar, how do you know how to do that? What to choose,
That's
I
a
guess.
great question. I remember the first time I started using drums, and I'm like, I don't even know how to notate this stuff. Unfortunately, I was using Finale, and Finale isn't nearly as easy as MuseScore. MuseScore puts them in the right voices for you, so you don't even need to know a lot about how the notation works on it, because it does it for you. When I first started doing it, I just started putting drum beats. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And I'm just experimenting. So honestly, your very first step is to get in there, do the assignments, and you get that first drum beat. You can copy that drum beat on almost any of your songs and it'll sound good. And then as you listen to it, make some variations. It's like, oh, I'm going to just add another drum here, or just experiment. And what's cool about MuseScore is you can hit the play button and see how bad you are. If it sounds bad, put it back or change it, and just experiment. It's all about what you like the sound of, and just getting in there and trying things. The more you try, the easier it'll get, and the more tools in your back pocket you'll have for the next song. That's a great question. Just go through the assignment, and you'll be surprised how quickly you learn the drums and the bass.
Great, thank you.
Can you put a link in the worksheet of how to hook up your piano keyboard to your computer to be able to play it, like a video link or something like that, or
Yeah, that's a very good question, because a lot of people don't have their keyboards connected to their computer yet with a USB cable. I will go ahead and do that in the resource section at the bottom.
Thanks.
Let me write that down before I forget it. Any other requests?
Donna Brown, can you give a shortcut for putting a pause or a roll in front of chords?
Yeah, so you want to know how to roll your chords?
Yep.
What else? A fermata?
A fermata, yeah.
Okay. I can show you how to do that. Maybe I'll just make a list of stuff.
I was playing around trying to do a triplet, and it did the 3 underneath, but it wouldn't. In the center, it wanted to give me a 16th note instead of all 8 notes for some reason, and I couldn't get it out of there.
So let me ask one of the kids on this thing. Who's a volunteer for a question? So
they are.
Okay. What do you do when you come across a question like on a triplet? Like, how do I do a triplet? What do you do?
Okay, so what I do when they ask me how to do like a triplet or something. So first, like, I'll go through it step by step, being like, okay, first got to open this page, then go to this, and then click this, connect this, and then boom.
Are you saying you do a Google search and ask Google how to do it and follow the instructions?
I don't really do that. I just show them like the easiest way possible to do that.
Yeah.
It makes it easier on their part to do it.
I'll tell you this, there are a million things to learn, lots of questions. Don't get overwhelmed with trying to learn everything first. People make the big mistake of thinking, oh, I've got to learn everything before I get started. You only need to learn just a little bit to get started. Then when you get to a spot where you're stuck and you're like, I don't know how to put in this note, you go to Google and you type MuseScore triplet or MuseScore triplets wrong, and you can find somebody else who's explained it in a video on how to do it. I do that all the time. I don't worry about not knowing how to do something anymore because of Google. You just do a Google search for it. So that's one of the things. Don't get overwhelmed, and don't think you need to know everything before you start. Get in there, start it. You get stuck, get unstuck by asking Google a question or YouTube.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
All right. So like, do we have to use MuseScore, or can we connect Midi and use Ableton Live or something?
Ableton, Josh, Josh
Yes.
Mills, you're there. Can you talk about that?
So Ableton is awesome for audio stuff. And that's actually something where, like, if you make a super awesome song, you can export the audio, and that will actually be something where you can put that into Piano Marvel soon. But as of now, if you're trying to upload a song, like, you're going to need to use MuseScore or some other notation software to actually write out the sheet music. So Ableton, you can use. I know that I use it usually for when I'm writing stuff as well. But as far as like getting it into a music XML and so that other people can read it and put it on Piano Marvel, you'll definitely need to use MuseScore or Finale or something of that sort.
So are you saying Ableton's mostly designed for audio?
Yes.
Okay. And then its secondary thing is notation. MuseScore,
it doesn't do notation at all.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
No, yeah, there's no notation. It will only export MIDI or audio files and video files, but that doesn't do any benefit for.
Yeah, now normally I use Finale, and it's because it's very powerful, and I've spent well over 1,000 hours, so I've become an expert in my section of Finale. I didn't want to learn MuseScore because, well, it's just hard to learn new things. But the only problem was Finale is expensive and MuseScore is free. And so if I want my students to do it, then I'm like, I can't have them go buy an expensive software. I got to do something free. So I actually had to learn how to use MuseScore. And as I've been in there, there's a lot of things that are much more intuitive than Finale. So if you're really good at Finale or something else, just bite the bullet and start learning to use MuseScore because it is free.
I appreciate that, Aaron, because my Sibelius is so out of date that I need to get an updated Sibelius. And so this has been a really good workshop because I'm not going to go and buy an updated Sibelius.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, there's no use going and spending all that money. Even though I know Sibelius, I know it really, really well, but it's like any other software. It's all there. You just have to find out where it lives.
I know.
And I'm so comfortable with Sibelius.
I know it's painful to learn new things. And I put it off. This session's actually been really good for me because I'm like, if I'm going to explain how to use it, I better get in and learn how to use it. And actually, I've been doing everything in Finale. I'm like, I need to just start doing some songs in MuseScore. So that's what I did.
So you would recommend then that I just let my Sibelius die and go on with MuseScore because I can use that with my students. That would be a better idea.
It will not hurt you to learn MuseScore, yes. So
okay.
jump in and do that.
Thank you.
I still use Finale. I will say that because I'm faster in it. But it's been very, very rewarding for me to just go out there and learn something new, even as painful as it was for me.
Hey, Aaron. Cindy White here.
Hey, Cindy.
Good job today. It's good.
Thank you.
So if you're in MuseScore and you have this piece that you've composed and you like it, but you want to play with it, can you make a copy of it so you don't lose it and then you can play with the copy of it?
Yeah, you just go save as and save it as a different name.
Okay. So just under File and Copy?
Yep, File, Save As.
Okay, Save As. Okay.
Yep, good question.
Hi, Aaron. This is John. Question.
Hey, John.
Hi. I'm just checking if you can hear me. I don't use Zoom, so.
Another
Okay.
good thing to learn.
Yeah. So thank you so much. That was very informative, and I like the part of exporting to Piano Marvel and sharing. But it's funny that I started this process about 2 months ago, and to starting like from scratch, improvising and all that. So my question is, actually I have two questions. Where do I find out more about chord progression and inversions? And what I mean by that, from the things that I'm learning, and maybe it's not well known for the listeners. So like the root key of the chord, like how do I find like the three keys of the root, and I know you maybe you know what I'm talking about. Then the fifth and the seventh, then you add two keys on the seventh, but three keys on the fourth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So basically, let's say chord C major, and you have 7 keys you're pressing. How do I find out like which one makes sound better than others? Just trial and error, or there's some charts, at least a rule that I can start and move on with it?
All of us piano teachers are like, ooh, we can answer that question.
Oh, there's no answer?
Yeah, there's definitely answers for that. It's not as cut and dry as you think. Theory in music theory is just as deep as the deepest calculus. You start with mathematics with addition, subtraction, then you get into multiplication, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and there is no end. Just like music theory, there is no end to it. You can get deeper and deeper and deeper. So my suggestion is, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you need to understand why this sounds good and why that sounds good. It's better to just start playing with it and experimenting and find sounds that work. And then as you go, you will start wondering, well, why is that working? And you'll start to understand theory in a whole new way. If you start tackling theory without going through and just experimenting, it's going to be super boring for you. And there is no end to it. So there are, yes, I could show you, I'd probably want to meet with you for an hour and just say, tell me what you want to learn. And then let me show you why this sounds good or why that sounds good. Why this will work or why that'll work. But it's so deep. Don't let that get in your way of creating something. YouTube is an excellent source. Find a teacher who can help you understand theory.
So basically what I'm doing, like just starting with this whole thing, so it's just pick something like A minor, and then I have like the fifth and the seventh, and I find another matching chord to that, and I build on that. Like that's all I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and you don't even have to know the names of the chords or anything.
Sorry, you go ahead.
You don't even have to know the names of the chord or anything. You just get in there and start making things sound good. If you do that, when you learn theory, that's kind of the route I took when I actually went into college, and I did 10 years of college in theory. It seems excessive, I know. I was way ahead of my peers because I started writing music not even knowing what I was doing. But when I did get into theory, it all made sense. I'm like, oh, and all my other peers, they're just like taking notes and, doing it surface level. And I understood the why that it made sense because I was experimenting with sounds already.
All right. Thank you so much.
Great questions, though. I wish I could answer that one really fast. Sorry.
Hi, Aaron.
Yeah.
This is Cami Davis. Okay. So I have an 8-year-old, and I really loved it. I want to incorporate the composition with all of my students, including him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like this idea of, introducing really simple things and then building on that through the Muse score. Another thing that I do with him that is super simple, and he gets so much fun out of this. I was going to ask if you knew about it, but is Scorecloud. And what he does is he plays something on the piano and it automatically notates the song that he played, and he prints it out, and then he's like, I made this, you know. So the downside of that is he has no idea how to notate, you know, he just plays the song and it notates.
Yes.
The upside of it is that he's creating immediately and realizing, I just created a song, like I just did this. So I wondered if you have used Scorecloud or heard about Scorecloud, or what your thoughts are on that.
I have not, but I will now.
Okay.
Scorecloud, I'm writing it down. And I'll tell you, that's not a bad thing for them to go in and use that. Yes, they do still need to learn how to do notation, how to notate it, but it's not going to hurt them to use. It's kind of like they've experimented with it. And now when you take them to MuseScore, they're like, oh, that's how you do that. And it'll mean so much more to them. So that's beautiful. That's great.
Is Scorecard or Scorecloud, is it a Apple app?
I use it on my Mac. I'm not sure if it can go on Windows as well, because I only have a Mac. I don't know.
Yeah. Keep looking for fun stuff out there. Again, I like to keep things super, super simple. The simpler you can make it, the more chance of success you're going to have. Yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds of years ago, a lot of the great composers used partimento as a way to learn to compose music. And I'm not a musician, but my children both are really enjoying Piano Marvel and everything else, and are really wanting to do some more complex composition. So I was wondering if there's a way you can kind of do a mini partimento course through Piano Marvel.
What the heck is partimento? I've never, in all my studies, I've never heard that. I've heard of portamento, but not partimento.
Yes, it's what it started off as the conservatories, what they used when they were teaching the boys, the orphans, to do music. There's a whole book, Galant theory and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of courses in composition. Never heard that. That's interesting. So was your question whether I'd heard of it or?
No, whether or not, I'm looking for my book. I actually have a book on it right here. Yeah, here it is. I don't know if you can see it.
Kind of.
It's called Child Composers in the Old Conservatories, How Orphans Became Elite Musicians, and it's by Robert O. Jin or something like that. I can't think of it.
I think it's pronounced yet again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But anyway, it's the way that the great composers learn just as children to be great to compose. But it's very, like you said, it's not something as known. I didn't know it was so unknown, but it's hard to.
I will pose this question. Do you think if Beethoven lived in today's world, would he be doing the same way he learned, or would he be utilizing different tools?
Definitely are modern tools. It's kind of the theory, the concepts, those kinds of things that.
Yeah, like systematically what to do. Honestly, I'll tell you a very interesting story. George Gershwin, you're familiar with him, right? Are you familiar with Ravel?
Only by name.
Okay, so Ravel is this classical composer that was one of the world's most famous composers. Anyway, great classical composer. And George Gershwin, well, he was kind of this hack where he was composing for Broadway with his brother, Ivan. Well, he decided, I am going to go to Europe and meet this god of composition, this Ravel. So he shows up at his, or he called him, and he's like, I'm not going to teach you. And so he's like, calls him again, I'm not going to teach you. So he actually goes to Europe, knocks on his door and says, I want to learn from you. And he's like, George, how much money do you make a year? And he told him, he's like, I should be studying from you. So the fact that George Gershwin may have been a hack, but that he learned how to really appeal to people was, for me, when I heard that story, I'm like, I don't have to be a Beethoven. I need to just learn how to appeal to people and make stuff that is really fun. I think that is something that sometimes you find somebody who has great success and then you try to copy them and it doesn't work. Well, because you're not them, or it's been done before. You need to be you and come up with something. Just keep your mind open. But no, those are great things. That being said, doesn't mean you shouldn't study from the greats. Thank you. Does anybody else have something? Okay, I know we're about 2 hours in.
I just
one
looked
more
up.
question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is just a generic question, not about today's webinar. Like using software to learn piano versus like physical teacher. So here's the problem that I have, that I experienced. My daughter has a teacher. She doesn't use Piano Marvel, although she has an account and she uses sometimes, but she has a teacher. I noticed, you know how when I play a song or started anything, like a lesson or a song, so you know, with the test, I can just cheat and feel my fingers, and I'm going 2 steps up and 4 steps up. And what that does is makes me lazy to read the note more than feel it and quickly play it. The advantage is in 1 hour, I can just play the song. The disadvantage, I'm not really reading the note.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So this is a year and a half, and I'm into this. And my daughter maybe 2 years or 2 years and a half. And I tell you, I play a lot more songs than her, but she reads better than me.
Well, there's a couple of reasons
you want
for
me to
that.
stop this habit and like I just have to break the ice and try to read, or I keep cheating and playing much faster song in a very short time?
Yeah, I will say one of the coolest things about this tickets challenge in Piano Marvel is the effect on sight reading. I've never seen anything improve sight reading more than students reading easy songs that they don't have to look at their fingers and stop and learn it. They just read without looking at their fingers and they feel for those notes. And doing easy songs, but a high quantity of them. Like set a goal to hit that 100 club. And you don't have to go in and learn a concert piece. So it's kind of like learning 2 different skills, learning how to read music and learning how to learn a song. They are very different skills. And people's brains tend to now go one way or the other. So if you are good at learning a piece and memorizing it, you tend to go down that path and learn because you're good at it and you kind of avoid the other skill. Or if you're good at reading, you tend to not learn how to memorize and learn pieces because you're really good at reading. And so you don't spend time in the other skill. You got to think of them as 2 separate skills.
Yeah, so I'm a beginner, obviously. So this is one thing, because all the time I thought this is a language. Once you learn English, you don't need to practice to read a newspaper.
Yep.
You just grab a newspaper and read it. But it seems to me, after going through the learning the song, playing the song, mastering the song, you don't read the notes anymore. So when I start with song 1, end up with song 10, okay, I'm learning those faster and then memorizing them. But when I go back to song 1, I can't memorize it anymore. And I have to go back to reading the note, just like alluding to what you said, reading music and learning some 2 different things.
That's great.
I wasn't aware of it before.
So I could do a
Once you
webinar
learn a song, you
on
can always
sight
go back and
reading.
read it.
Yeah, I actually do webinars on sight reading because it's a very interesting topic. We're kind of, I guess, off of the topic of composition now, which probably I could be happy to talk to you about that sight reading in another another setting though. That'd be fun. Does anybody else have a composition question?
I do.
Aaron. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like you were able to compose that song fairly quick because of your extensive background knowledge. But if I hand that to kids like that and say, just do whatever, that's like the overwhelming, and and they come up with, I mean, just noise.
Yes,
Do you ever go back and say, oh, well, let's just, okay, you had that little theme there, and go back and start with some basics like, teach them question and answer, or what do you do to go back to really teach them those basics so they can get under their knowledge base, or in their knowledge base, some of those basics that you have that are all ingrained,
right?
Because your way of doing it works for you because you have an extensive background knowledge, but the new students don't.
Couple of ideas for you. That number one, that's why I started with the MuseScore assignment, because what I'm doing is I'm breaking down barriers before we ever get into the whole concept of composition. We really don't get into that until step 2 of 4, like the second part of 4. And yeah, I mean, you can do years and years of study on that, and little kids, they're just not going to get it. So making up songs, I just encourage them to just plunk out some tunes, and then I go from there. Chord progressions are really good because you can help them by playing a chord progression, then have them playing a note with it, or you can teach them how to do those chord progressions. There's a lot that goes into it, and you don't have to understand it all in order to start. And so that's why we just get them started with something easy that is a complete success. If they can get step 1 done, you don't even have to understand any composition. You just go in and follow step by step, and we break down those barriers so that when you get to step 4, you have those tools ready, and it makes it easier to take that gigantic step into, yikes, the whole world is open. Improvisation, that being said, improvisation is probably the best place to start. And I wrote an improvisation thing in Piano Marvel. It's called, I think it's called Improvisation, where they can go in.
It's called Blues Improvisation, I think.
Blues Improvisation. That's a good place to start for them, because really what we're doing is improvising. And then you take what you improvise over to the notation software after that. You can try it backwards and go into music notations, just start putting dots in on the staff and hope it sounds good, cross your fingers. That's not nearly as effective as playing it on the piano and finding something that sounds good and then learning to notate it. So that's why I think improvisation is the place to start with that. And like blues improv, where you're just doing, where you play just a background accompaniment and they just learn how to just play some notes that sound good with that. And you give them 5 notes to pick from. Yeah, so improvisation it can be a whole new subject. Maybe I should do a webinar on improvisation next. Would that be helpful?
Probably, yeah.
100%.
Okay. In the meantime, you can go into Piano Marvel and do that blues improvisation course. That's one easy, quick step on teaching improv. But you're right, improvisation is so intermingled with that. And a lot of people can pick it up on their own. They don't really mind just plunking stuff out and they can find it. Other people, it doesn't sound good at all.
Aaron, the Partimento is classical improvisation. That's what that is.
Oh, okay. Let me write that down. I'll look that up.
Aaron, I have a question, and I think I'm going to create a lot of enemies here because I know there's no such thing as bad music. Okay, all music is good music. Everything that you create is good. I understand that in theory, but I'm also concerned about, are you going to be vetting any of the stuff that people are uploading onto Piano Marvel so we don't have to wade through
there's a
compositions that start in 5/8, then it moves to 7/8, then it goes to 3/8 because the kid didn't have a sense of rhythm and he just threw it down, and there's no pedagogical background or anything. I'm sorry, but I just don't want to wade through a bunch of, can I say it, junky stuff. I'm sorry.
That almost sounds like bar talk. 5878. No, I just wanted to say that just to be a nerd. So, Aaron, you can answer that.
Yeah, the answer to your question is yes. We're going to, when you submit a piece, there's a process where we listen to it. We got to make sure it's in the public domain, and that it's and that it is also like it works, and that it sounds good. And then if we accept it, then we will let people play it. So you don't have to wade through that. We will do that for you. Great question. And yes, there is no such thing as bad music, just music that I don't want to listen to.
I've written a lot of bad songs, though. I'll say that.
So on that same line, when the kids or whoever submits one that is not going to make the cut, do you give them feedback?
Yes. Yep, and we'll help them. We'll say, hey, if you do this or that, then resubmit it. Great question.
So I have a couple questions about, so I'm doing the teacher certification course right now, and I created, you know, one of the assignments, Mary Had a Little Lamb. And when I did that, you put a difficulty level in that. And I thought, how do you know what difficulty level it is? I mean, I can have a pretty good guess about what level it is, but is there some kind of, do you guys check it and be like, yeah, no, that's a different level or something like
that? Is so subjective. Josh, I'm going to let you answer that.
Yeah, so I work on doing that with another guy at Piano Marvel, Sean Slade. He got his degree. He got a couple degrees in piano. He knows way more than I do, but we go through stuff, and we are going through like the entire library doing that. So I say all that to say that like these kind of pieces, they may be something like, I'm not exactly sure if we're going to be leveling everything, because, you know, this could take, I mean, if everyone starts uploading, they could add 50,000 pieces. Like that's not realistic to level.
And even
but we do have like a
disagree, huh? On like,
yeah, and
I
like
think that's
it's
level
very
4.
like,
Well, I think it's a level 3.
Yeah, I think it is very subjective. The thing that I will say, though, that I think could possibly help with this is there's basically 4 levels in Piano Marvel. And this is what we do, too, when we get to a piece. We just try to make it as simple as possible. Like, hey, is this beginner? Is it intermediate? Is it advanced? Or is it professional? You know, and beginners 1 to 3, intermediates 4 to 6, advanced is 7 to 12, and professionals 13 to 18. And we just try to keep it broad. Like between a 12 and a 13, yeah, there's probably some kind of, oh, it has octaves, and you know, like there's some kind of nerd thing that there probably is there, but we just I think the most important thing is just to keep it as simple as possible.
We'll check the level 2 when they come in. We'll just say, hey, that's not a level 1, that's a level 5.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if it's marked level 1 and we see that it's like a 5 or something much harder, we'll try to make sure that's looked at.
So just give it your best shot, your best guess.
Okay, and then I just wanted to add that the competition factor of this and the power of that. I'm laughing because I tried the challenge for the first time because Michelle brought this challenge thing up, and I'm like, what's this challenge? I've been doing Piano Marvel for like a year, and I kind of noticed it, but I didn't really know what it was. And it is addictive. Like once you get in the challenge, you want to move up that leaderboard. And so I assume with this composition, if you're doing this like likes, you know, how many likes, how many people are viewing, it's going to be that same kind of excitement where you try to create, like I'm saying that may be undervalued. Like the power of that part of it for your students, I think will be significant. I guess I'm super competitive because as soon as I have a leaderboard, I'm like, okay, let's see what we could do. And my kids are behind me, Mom, you can do this. And cheering me on. So I think that's a super
that's
cool
a great
part of
comment. I appreciate it. And that you were right. It is, we need to tap into the power of motivation as teachers. Motivate your students, because that is 90% of teaching, getting them to want to learn. Does anybody have another question? If
this
not,
is not a question.
Oh, go ahead, David.
I looked up that well, now I forgot the name of it.
SoundCloud.
Huh?
Oh, the Scorecloud.
Yeah, that's Scorecloud. That looks very interesting, and it says it's for iPad.
Oh.
It's not say it's for a regular computer, but
Well, make a video on it and send it to me. I'm curious.
I'm going to look it up. Yeah, I'll do something.
Thank you.
So this might be an obvious question, but for the Christmas challenge and putting our own songs, creating, doing composition, are you looking just for new composition, original composition, or will you also be looking for arrangements of common, already written Christmas songs?
You will get far more plays if you write Christmas songs that people know and just make arrangements. If you're after getting a lot of plays, you just have to understand people like tunes they're familiar with. And
just pay really close attention to copyright stuff, because a lot of things that I assumed were like old enough to be out of copyright date actually aren't when I was looking it up. So
and that's
be
why
sure to
I
look
gave
things
you
up,
that
because I
list.
was really wrong about a lot of it.
I gave you that list
what?
so that you can look to see what is in the public domain and what's not.
And I guess that's my question. I mean, if we're arranging it into our own composition, like our own arrangement of that song, that's probably a better route to go than just to copy something that's out of something that's somebody else has already written.
Yeah, like even the tune, like I saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus, that's under copyright, so you can't even make an arrangement of that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can, you just can't put it into this competition because there are copyright laws that we have to follow.
Great. Thank you, Erin.
Yeah, that should be really obvious though. Like anything that's green on that list is game. Anything that's red down at the bottom is copyright. That doesn't mean they can't write it for themselves and upload it. They just can't upload it into the competition. Yeah, it's great to, like, you can do, I saw Mama Kissing Santa Claus as an assignment for them and have them arrange it. They just have to be, I mean, they can share it with their friends even. They're not going to make money on it. But because our competition is worldwide, that's where we have to draw the line. Okay, well, I've got to wrap this up, and I'm happy to take any more questions you have via email. You saw that my email's at the bottom of the doc that I shared. I have not, to be honest, I did not look at any of your comments on the right side of the screen. I've just been busy in the conference, so I can go back and look at those and answer them maybe via email. I'll email everybody a link to the video when I'm done. All right, thank you guys. I've loved working here with you guys. Can't wait to see your compositions and your students' compositions. This will be fun.
It was awesome. Thank you, Erin.
Okay, talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.